Carolyn Carter, Esquire, National Consumer Law Center. Carolyn Carter has a well-deserved reputation as one of the country's most knowledgeable and respected consumer rights advocates. Carolyn Carter currently serves as the Deputy Director for Advocacy for the National Consumer Law Center, where she is very much involved in helping legal aid advocates and clients across Pennsylvania and across the nation. Carolyn has dedicated her legal career to the public interest. After graduating from Yale Law School in 1973, Carolyn immediately started working in legal services, first working at the Legal Aid Society of Cleveland as a staff attorney, then as a law reform director, where she conducted and supervised major law reform litigation, including a class action that stopped wrongful termination of disability benefits without proof that the recipients were no longer disabled. At the same time, Carolyn also wrote 11 out of 16 of the chapters of the Ohio Consumer Law textbook, for which she was editor-in-chief. In addition, she taught a poverty law course at Case Western Reserve University Law School, where she was an adjunct professor. In 1986, Carolyn moved to Pennsylvania. Her husband accepted a teaching position at Gettysburg College, and she joined the staff of Legal Services, Inc., a small regional program that was one of the predecessors of Mid-Penn Legal Services. Carolyn spent time there as both a staff attorney and as co-director of the program. Carolyn was one of the lead counsels in a seasonal worker unemployment compensation case, in which she and her co-counsel waged a years-long challenge to an attempt to cut off unemployment compensation benefits to thousands of workers in the fruit and vegetable processing industry. Largely due to her efforts, the adverse effects of this law were almost entirely erased by a decision of the Pennsylvania Supreme Court. Carolyn was also responsible for the book Pennsylvania Consumer Law, for which she wrote 2 chapters and served as the editor-in-chief. In addition to writing the lead chapter about the state consumer protection statute, Carolyn assembled some of the leading practitioners and scholars to write about other consumer areas of importance to Pennsylvania residents. The resulting book is the only one of its kind in the state and is considered the Bible to all consumer advocates. Carolyn left Mid-Penn to be staff attorney, then Deputy Director of Advocacy for the National Consumer Law Center, the premier legal aid consumer program in the United States. But even since her departure, Carolyn has remained directly active in Pennsylvania consumer and housing matters. For the past several years, she has been working with Regional Housing Legal Services on their Resident Protection Project, dedicating herself to protecting the rights of residents of manufactured home communities. In addition, she is a co-director of Franklin County Legal Services and is very active in the annual Friends of Legal Services book sale, which raises funds for the provision of legal services to low-income residents of Franklin County. What Will Ogburn, Executive Director of NCLC, said about Carolyn captures what her colleagues in Pennsylvania, Ohio, and nationwide think about her. Everybody here at the center, everybody, thinks the world of Carolyn. She is terrific. She is an outstanding, tireless advocate for legal services, deeply knowledgeable, incredibly productive and effective, a colleague of unsurpassed near perfection. In recognition of her willingness to share information, her tireless advocacy, and her expertise in consumer and housing rights, Carolyn Carter is presented with a 2012 Pennsylvania Legal Aid Network Excellence Award. Carolyn Carter was nominated for the Pennsylvania Legal Aid Network Excellence Award by Don Meritz of Regional Housing Legal Services, Larry Norton of the Community Justice Project, Beth Goodell of Community Legal Services, and Eileen Yaknin of Neighborhood Legal Services Association.